welcome to episode 45 of Karlene's Anime Corner, a St. Johns County Public Library podcast. And I am here today with Miss Amy and my co-host Zoe. And how have you guys been?
Busy.
Busy?
Busy.
It's Christmas shopping season, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And I've not been managing my time very well.
That's with all of us. And other than shopping, have you guys been up to anything fun?
Define fun. Because the games I've been playing are, by all means, they shouldn't be fun, and yet I can't turn away.
That type of game. And Miss Amy, what have you been up to?
So speaking of games, a friend and I are putting the finishing touches on a board game we've created, and there's a board game cafe up in Jacksonville that invited us over. They're going to host us for play testing. Geeking out a lot over this. We're
that
very
is
excited.
exciting.
We have business cards that we've ordered. That's how
Man, okay.
Yeah, this is like legit. We're so excited.
You're getting professional on your board game.
We are.
I'll admit,
That's
I was
awesome.
not expecting to hear that today. Board games.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. We'll have to have Zoe do a play test at some point.
Absolutely.
I
keep
don't know
inviting
about that one.
So.
I'm not very good at board games. I get very confused very quickly.
So today we are talking about an anime movie that came out in 2021, aired in the United States for the first time in 2022, and it was so popular that the Cannes Film Festival, it got a 14-minute standing ovation.
Which is
Which is
Yeah.
interesting. Because I think the conclusion we have come to briefly before starting this recording while I was arguing with the computer was that we have mixed feelings.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
mixed
Oh,
feelings.
yeah.
Agreed.
So let's go ahead and dive straight in here. I'm going to do a quick summary on what it is. So we are reviewing Belle, directed by Mamoru Hosoda, which I have liked several of his other movies quite a bit.
Oh,
We
yeah.
actually covered one of his in an earlier podcast called Summer Wars, which I'm going to say I see echoes of in this film. And this movie is... Did I say the title of the movie yet?
Yeah, it's Belle.
Belle.
Did you say it, though?
Did I say it?
Yeah, you said it. You said it.
Sorry,
I
guys.
don't know if she did.
It's been a long day. The movie we're covering is called Belle,
Yes.
just in case I didn't say it.
Yeah, you said it.
And it is a futuristic sci-fi virtual reality retelling of the story of Beauty and the Beast.
Bit more Beauty than Beast, though.
A bit more Beauty than
Lot more
Beast.
beauty.
Yeah, I think that's about all you need to know about the film going in, because that's all I knew about it when I started watching it.
Oh, and it's a musical.
yes, there is singing.
It's
Lots
good.
of singing.
It's good, though.
So, real quick before we go deep dive, do you guys have a star rating in mind for this film out of 5?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what's
I
yours,
have thought
Zoe?
about this. I actually have 2-star ratings.
Interesting.
And it's because I kind of split the movie into two, aspects. From, a technical standpoint. The songs, the visuals, the general pacing,
Mm-hmm.
the voice acting, the
Spot on.
animation. 5 out of 5. It's
Yep.
beautiful. This is a gorgeous movie.
Yep.
No
This
doubt.
movie is downright gorgeous.
And I would have to agree with you on that. The songs, the animation, the overall pace of the storytelling with the quiet moments, the loud moments, all really well done. And that's the reason why Mamoru Hosoda is one of my favorite directors, because he is good at that.
But
Now,
But
now here's the but. So I guess I'm gonna lump together the story and the characters into one section, and I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
And that's being generous.
All right.
Because I feel like they could have spent a bit more time in the writer's room
character
with this
development
story.
needed work.
Yes, please, character
Yes.
development, especially
A
in
lot
the
of work.
case of one of our main characters. I'd argue
Yeah.
kind of got the short end of the stick.
Oh, yeah.
She gave it
Yeah.
a 3 for character and story development. What would you give it, Miss Amy?
I'm going to go, before I watched the interview with the director, I would have given it...
Yeah, you did extra homework.
Yeah,
You did extra homework. Sadly, we can't do that here.
The interview actually kind of dropped my rating a little bit. So
Oh.
I'd be somewhere between
Really?
I'd be somewhere between a 2 and a 3 myself. And
Okay.
it's because like you mentioned, the visuals, the art, all of that was fantastic. Other things are going on. But mostly it made me really think about the movie. So I do like movies where I don't have an obvious opinion right away. I like the ones where I have to think about it. So I'm going to go with a 3 on this one, probably.
I kind of edged it up a little bit into a 3.5, but to be honest, that's probably just because I have a soft spot for this director, because one of my favorite movies is Summer Wars, and there are echoes of Summer Wars in this film. But I think in some ways that also made me drop my score a bit, because he went into a virtual social network in Summer Wars as well, and I felt that one was more developed and more real than the one he did here. So that's why it kind of hurt the comparison with Summer Wars, but it also is because of Summer Wars. I'm going to give it that extra half point.
Yeah, I'll admit, for a virtual reality world setting, it was kind of barren.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see a lot of the world. We saw the sea and the avatars, which cool character designs all around for the avatars, but
yeah,
the
which
world
you had that in Summer Wars too.
Yeah, but the world itself was kind of empty.
And that makes you wonder, is it because of the lack of imagination of the inhabitants?
Or is it because the directors didn't want to animate a lot? And because they put so much effort into the character models.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying sometimes...
For a social world online that you're supposed to be representing where 5 billion users are active. Global. A lot of what you see is just characters floating around in space.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything.
And it's a lot of characters who are people that she goes to school with. I mean, it felt like there was a lot of... I don't know. It didn't feel like it reached the potential of
I mean, some locations look cool, like the Beast's castle is really neat.
Which, again, here's my complaint, though. The Beast's castle is really cool. He has his 5 AI helpers. Why is he the only character that has its own castle and AI helpers?
Right.
Where are all the other cool buildings that people have built? Where's the rest of the world?
Once again, I shall repeat, I think they could have used a bit more time in the writer's room.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because this movie feels unfinished.
And I'm going to tell you, and my thought as I was watching this, because I kept waiting for more that didn't come, is I was like, I think he watched Disney's Beauty and the Beast and decided that since everybody has seen that, he can shorthand everything and just not explain.
Good point.
Yeah.
Because the AI characters made me think of all the talking all the like
the talking
Lumiere,
instruments and furniture.
Yeah, Lumiere and Cogsworth and all those. The AIs made me think of those types of characters.
Right.
The castle with the abandoned West Wing where the Beast hangs out and constantly yelling at her to get out.
The roses.
The rose motif.
The ballroom.
Which the rose motif was very heavy in also the original written Beauty and the Beast fairy tale. But still, a lot of that evoked, I think, the Disney movie a lot.
Right.
I have a feeling that maybe whoever wrote or directed whatever writing happened, maybe they decided they could shorthand a lot of it and concentrate more on something else because people already went into it with this is how Beauty and the Beast is.
So I was not at all familiar with the movie when it came out in the United States. Like, this was the first time I heard of it, to be honest. But was it billed as a Beauty and the Beast?
Yes. It was billed as a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Okay, interesting.
Here's an opinion.
That's why it's called Belle.
Yeah, but
here's an opinion. I think this movie might have fared a little bit better if it wasn't a retelling of Beauty and the Beast.
Agreed,
and again, that's where I fall under Summer Wars, because so Summer Wars, Amy, because you're not familiar with this, is very similar. It's done by the same director. And what happens is that there is this social network, giant universe thing where everybody does their shopping. They have offices there. They do meetings. And everything like telecommunications runs through this social network. So like even police departments and everything run through this social network for communication purposes. And a virus gets loosed in there called Love Machine, which is an awesome name for a virus.
I mean, it's actually based off a real virus, I think.
Oh, really?
The I Love You virus.
But anyway, and it starts slowly destroying this network. And this one family in Japan is having a huge family reunion. And they wind up, and they have Grandma, who is head of the clan. And Grandma is awesome because everything communication falls apart. The city's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. And this is all across the world, but they're only showing you in this small Japanese town area. She pulls out her little phone book and her rotary dial phone, and she calls everybody and networks them all, and she becomes like the center of the old-fashioned social network. So it's a really good look at the modern social network, the old-fashioned social network of, your little black book with all your names, and how they both were similar and could be held together.
Right.
So this, I felt he was not looking so much to the past.
No, not at all.
Not at all. And I felt it was lacking some of the heart that I've seen in some of his other films. If that makes sense.
It's just, I think it's because he put too much focus into other characters compared to certain ones. And also just the way, I don't know, just the way he portrayed the virtual world in comparison to Summer Wars in this one, it just feels like he kind of winged it.
Summer Wars, the virtual world was cartoony, it was whimsical, it had a lot more action going on. It, like, there was fighting games in the other one, and you could actually see the fighting ring and see them fighting and how there was, like, a point system and a this and a that. This one, it felt like it was way more chaotic to a certain extent.
I mean, here's my main complaint here. The main villain of this story, Justin, is this big dude with a bunch of sponsors, which I can kind of understand.
Yeah,
he's part of this, like,
that cracked me up.
he's part of this, like, homemade justice squad.
Self-appointed. We're going to make sure everybody follows the rules. But the problem is he's also made up the rules.
Right.
Yeah, and he has this thing where he can reveal a person's true, like, self
True identity.
outside of their avatar. And,
Right.
like, that's just straight up doxing, and that is incredibly dangerous, and no one seems to be worried about that.
Yeah.
No one seems to be worried about the fact that he could literally endanger people's lives by revealing their identity to 5 billion other people.
Yeah. The
And that's, like-
vigilante nature of it all was very concerning.
Which I was very happy that at the end he lost all of his sponsorship.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was
hilarious. I mean, it was a very short comeuppance, but it was just like he has this wall of sponsors behind him, and all of a sudden it's like, you did that?
Yep.
No, boom, all gone.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
that too.
I feel like he didn't actually expect to use his little weapon thing.
No, she made him use it.
She made him use it,
so-
and then everyone's like, "Oh wait, this is actually really, really bad."
Yeah.
But then it
Yeah.
took them that long to realize how dangerous it is to have one dude have this much power.
Well, it sounds like he's just been threatening people the entire time, but
Yeah.
then he actually got called on it, and they were like, "Okay, do it," and he did it, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Wait,
'Cause,
you
like-
can actually do this, and you're willing to do this?
yeah."
It's
that's-
just because in the real world, doxing is like one of the worst things you can do to a person online because it genuinely endangers their lives.
right.
Yeah.
Like-
let's start by talking a little bit about our main character, Belle,
Mhm.
who in real life is Suzu.
Suzu.
Uh-huh.
Suzu,
Yeah.
which I'm sure on the recording sounds like I'm just going
Suzu.
Suzu, which her name actually means literally bell, like tinkle tinkle bell,
yep.
which is why she uses that as her username. I did like the way they portrayed her grief and the fact
Yes,
and
that-
how it affected
That was
her,
lovely.
and that how even though everybody around her tried to bring her out.
Kind of. I think part of the problem that I had with Belle, it was not the part of the grief, but the self-centeredness. Like, she could not see beyond herself. She was,
Mhm.
for the longest time, everyone was trying to reach out to her, trying to help her, but she was so involved in her grief
But
that
you
she
have-
couldn't see beyond it.
I think that probably being a child and then a teenager, they tend to be very self-centered.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's how it is. I think
Absolutely. I mean, that's
I
realistic,
wonder
but-
if in college, if when she got a little bit older, if that would have started helping her to. I don't know. I found, and I think I think also losing her ability to sing, I think hurt her a lot.
I
a lot.
loved that part. That
I
little
did-
detail was nice.
That little detail that she could not sing because it physically made her ill.
Yeah.
See, Suzu is like, I think one of the movie's best strengths as a character. Like, I really liked watching her do stuff, even though I did feel she could have done a couple things better.
Yeah.
But I think she was when the story was focused on her and like her interactions with the world, I was the most engaged.
Yeah.
And then
I-
when it changes perspectives a little bit and goes into other things, I'm
I
like,
do like the fact that we got to see Suzu's school through her eyes.
Yes.
Because she's looking at Riku, the most
Yes.
and she's like, oh, she's so beautiful, she's so popular, she's so outgoing, and she really envies Riku because she can talk to people and so on. But then Riku comes and talks to her and goes, I tried to confess my love to this kid, and I just looked like a complete idiot. And
Yes.
he said I was creeping him out.
Yes.
And I was like, I love that part because that made you realize that even the biggest, most popular girl in school has social anxiety.
Yeah, they're human.
Yeah.
And I liked seeing that through her eyes. Her friend Hero kind of scares me.
I loved Hero. She was
I
my
love Hero,
favorite
but
character.
Wait. That's the glasses girl, right?
Yeah,
Glasses girl.
Yeah, she's a little fanatic.
Oh no, I loved her. She.
Oh, I love her.
cracked me
I love
up.
her too. But she is the one who has entered the internet world, entered the social network, and she has figured out how it works.
Yes.
She's plugged herself into the computer.
I know.
Yeah.
She is just because she's like
Which is funny because her parents kind of banned her from the computer room.
Yeah.
yes, and they still managed to.
But what I also liked about Hero is she's the one that made Belle famous. Like she was the one that went ahead and like released the video or whatever, and it was like she wanted to bring attention to her friend because she knew her friend would do well with it.
Yeah, and I wonder, and I love the fact that there's one moment where Hero says something about her mom or her parents not wanting her to do something, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry that I mentioned them." It's like she actively tries not to bring up parents
Right.
and mothers because she knows it hurts her friend, even though it's part of her life.
Yep, she's sensitive to her
And I
triggers.
like that because she seems so insensitive on everything else.
I don't think she's purposely insensitive. I think
No.
she's one of those hard exterior, really soft, chewy interiors for sure.
Yeah. But there were moments where even at the beginning, Suzu was like, "Okay, well, you calm down on your digs at me."
Yeah. Yep.
But Suzu doesn't take it badly because she knows Hiro really does care about
Right.
her.
Right.
What about what's his name? Shirogane? Black-haired kid.
Oh.
He creeped me out.
Oh.
I don't like
Wait,
him.
the tall guy that kept watching out for her?
The tall
Yeah.
guy with the black hair. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was just the way they performed him, but he just felt kind of creepy to me.
Really?
The way he was like always like watching her and stuff. I get there's like I understand like he means well by it, but it just feels creepy.
So I had a couple
Maybe it's
of-
the way the English voice actor played him or something. I don't
Maybe.
know.
I was expecting the plot to go in different directions with him. Like at
Yeah.
first, I thought he was going to be the dragon.
He's going to be dragon.
I
Yeah.
thought that was
I
going to be
thought that
him.
briefly until they brought up the bruises on the dragon's back, and I was like, he doesn't
Yeah.
seem like the kind of character that would have that.
And then the other direction I was going in is that because there was a quick little flashback at the end where I think him as a child was holding on to Suzu's hand. I wonder if he was there when her mother drowned.
He was.
He was.
actually.
That was
was.
it. That was
yeah.
him.
He was the one. He
Which
stopped her from going in the water.
I
right?
actually did not catch that until they went ahead and did that flashback. I have to admit,
Yes.
I did not see that one coming because I didn't. For some reason, in my head, it didn't register that another kid had grabbed her.
Right.
So I thought it had been like an adult or something.
Not gonna lie, I thought the Beast was gonna end up being the Kayak King kid.
Oh, I like the
I
kayak. He
did.
cracked me up.
Well, and
He's fun.
and to be
Yeah.
honest, I
His
had that-
animation is so funny. It has like
Yeah.
5 extra frames compared to
Yes.
everyone else.
Yes. Well, and I did too. I also thought the Beast could be the kayaking kid, Kamishan, because he was so outgoing, so this, so that, and you're like, and we're always talking about how what's underneath what
Mhm.
people are showing. So I was like, well, maybe, yes, he's into all this kayaking stuff, but it's because he's
Tortured on the
running.
inside.
He's running away from something at home by going on all these
Right.
kayaking trips.
Right.
Can I?
But he wound up just being a nice, happy-go-lucky guy.
can I talk about the Beast as a character?
Yes.
Are we ready to talk about the Beast?
I would like to. Can I lead the conversation here
Yes.
because
Yes.
you guys have led the conversation on Suzu and everyone else. Because I'm gonna be
All
honest,
right,
I
go.
didn't pick up on the stuff about Hero.
Go
I'm kind of
Go for
iffy
the
about that.
Beast.
But okay, so the Beast is an interesting thing in that I feel like he got very little development as a character.
Hardly
He-
any.
Hardly any.
He showed up. He did some cool things. Belle was like, "Oh, cool, weird, mysterious man. I must know about him." And then he
Right.
left. And then she decides to follow this random stranger on the internet.
Yeah, creepy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I can get to the real him. You don't know
No,
this
yeah,
person.
Yeah.
All you've heard
Yeah.
is that he's a kind of a weirdo." And everyone hates him for no real reason, it seems, because all he's seemed to do is that he fights dirty in the matches, but that's about it. He doesn't seem to be doing anything illegal or mean or evil.
And even when he breaks into the concert, which he's not supposed to do, he was being chased by
he
other
was
people.
being chased,
Right.
and they're like, "Oh, he's the ugly beast." And I'm like, "You call that character design ugly?
That's not ugly.
That's it's a dragon person with a weird splotchy cape. That's not ugly.
Yeah.
You guys are just mean."
Right.
And I'm like,
and it was like Justin had this particular thing where he just wanted to get the beast, and it's like, what's the backstory on that?
where did the hatred and animosity come from? Because in the original story,
what do you
Beauty
want
and the Beast,
what do you want to bet that? Yeah, because Justin's kind of like the Gaston figure, except for Justin has no interest in Belle other than her telling him about the beast.
Right.
yeah, because in the original story, the reason the Beast was like hunted is because he's this big terrifying monster that no one knows anything about. They think he's holding Belle captive. When in this, Belle's kind of just following after him, and he's like not wanting to be anywhere near her.
Yeah, I did not really get that, and I didn't get why the beast felt the need to close himself off in the castle if the idea of you was supposed to be something you're not, live another life.
Yeah, it's
So
supposed to be an escape.
But he was definitely escaping, though.
He was escaping, but it felt like he took his prison with him.
Yeah,
But maybe he just wanted to escape to a quiet spot.
See,
True, it could be he wanted, but I don't know.
Here's my biggest complaint, because the whole thing is it's not a romance. This is not a romance story, but it seems kind of.
It tries to be.
It tries, but like it's really weird if you see it in that way.
No, I think what it is, it's supposed to be more, because she does sing him in essence a love song, but I think it's more of a I see the hurt in you because I've also been hurt type song.
But I just didn't get that feeling, because like it feels weird. The whole thing is weird. Their relationship is very bizarre to me, because it looks like, and sometimes they might be bonding a little bit, and then it just skips to a whole different thing, and then all of a sudden they're ballroom dancing, and I'm like, where did that come from? Why is he suddenly opening up
to ballroom dance because it was in the Disney movie?
Yeah, exactly.
That was the feeling I got, is that a lot of this happened because.
So, do you want to hear a little bit of insight from the director?
Yes,
on that one?
I do.
Yeah,
because
I want to know what he was thinking with this.
So, Belle was based on his 5-year-old daughter.
Huh?
Yeah. He was imagining what life would be like for her as she was getting older. And that was the life he imagined for her.
That makes it a little bit worse, actually.
Exactly.
Considering the choices that Suzu makes, that's kind of concerning.
It's very concerning.
Considering, because we're just going to go ahead and say, are we doing a spoiler section?
Yeah,
we're in spoilers. Because the Beast is revealed to be this kid named Kay who's being abused by his dad with a little brother. Yep. And then Suzu, she decides to try and help him by going into a video call and then taking a train and going to where his house is.
So terrible.
And that's
such a bad idea.
That is the worst.
No, the worst part is the adults are aiding and abetting her in this and not going with her.
They're letting her go alone to an abusive household where she could very easily get hurt or killed.
Right. And the fact that they're glorifying that shit. I mean, yes, standing up to an abuser is great, but she's a kid.
And she's a random stranger on the internet that the Beast has known for like 5 minutes.
No, this
and that's the thing is I have a feeling more time happened in you than what they're showing us. Because how does she become that popular literally overnight with one song?
True.
I have a feeling that she actually was doing more concerts, more songs and stuff.
See, that could have been fixed with like a montage or something.
Yeah. And I think that was their goal with all the costume changing montage thing they did at one point.
There were only 3 costumes. I counted. There were only 3 costumes.
Well, no, because there was that one scene where they literally showed her singing in a gazillion different costumes. There was like 10 or 15.
It's because people were remixing her first song.
Yeah, right, and that's what I couldn't understand. But then at one point, Hiro is like, oh, yes, and I designed your costumes, and I did this, and I did that. Like, she's been giving concerts.
No,
but we never see any of them.
She was the one who was creating the montages.
Yeah, it felt like somehow the way they were talking that she was active in you for longer than what we saw.
I didn't get that.
But
anyway, back to the.
See, here's the thing. Here's another point I have to make. I feel like the weird like speed running of a bond between the Beast and Belle could have been fixed if they showed them actually, I don't know, becoming online friends, having a semi-normal discussion, maybe. Because, like, the thing is, Beauty and the Beast, it's a good story because it's about Belle and the Beast forming this sort of, friendly bond that grows over time. Right. But in this one, it's like, she sings a song to him and he's immediately your friend.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it could have been remedied. And also, the little brother character, the little angel. I love the design of his avatar, by the way. It's cute.
Was great.
I feel like if they just, as like a little trio, maybe interacted and acted like maybe friends could, and the whole conflict is that, she's friends with him and no one else wants her to be friends with him because she's such a big upstanding figure, and that's why the conflict happens or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this, and it could have been fixed if they just showed them having an actual bond of some kind.
Right. Like chapters were missing.
And that's it. Is I felt like, again, he watched an animated Disney movie, and he said, okay, I can skip this, this, and this because everybody will fill in the blanks for themselves. But I'm like, but it just it lessens the emotional impact of parts of this movie.
I think he cut the wrong parts out.
Yeah.
Because like the main draw of the original story is the bond that is formed between the two.
Well,
right.
And there isn't that in this film.
Not at all.
Yes, she stands up to the dad. And also, the only abuse we actually see the dad do is he throws stuff around.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, it was implied.
No, it was implied he's done physical abuse, but the only abuse we actually see is him throwing stuff around the room and yelling at them.
Yeah, but considering the bruises on his
Considering the bruises.
And there is a scene where he like develops the bruises like in real time.
Right.
From what I understood, the main like draw of this is two traumatized, damaged people coming together and forming a bond because of it, and just learning to like grow and become each other's strengths.
Yeah, but that bond was...
But that bond wasn't there.
No.
Well,
and
also,
I'm not gonna lie, the little "I'll help you" speech that Kay gives in the live stream was a little on the nose.
Yeah,
he kind of. I mean, no wonder his avatar is a dramatic dragon with a big cloak. He's kind of dramatic.
He is.
Right.
But he's probably been told by adults multiple times, "Oh, we'll help you. We'll talk to your dad. We'll do this. We'll do this." But they never do anything. Now, she at least did come and try to do something. But I'm like,
here's the thing.
But the thing
she's
is,
a teenager.
She's a teenager, and also, all we saw was she stood up to him and he walks away. That they still have to go back to that house. They're still going back to this, and she went back to her home.
And it was like,
she
wait a minute,
she didn't take
them.
She didn't take them back with her.
Nope.
No one called they called the police, but they had to wait 48 hours for some reason.
Yeah.
Is that a Japan thing? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know that much about policing in Japan.
Again, she didn't bring an adult with her when she's going halfway across the country.
Super dangerous
to a random person's house that she barely knows.
Yeah, this was
she should never have actually been able to find them. I'm sorry. Her clues were so vague, and Japan has a huge population. She's also from a very rural community going to a big city.
Yeah.
There's no way she should have found that house in that quick of a time. And even if they had like some help or something, they didn't even give them the proper address and she just found it.
Yeah.
The final act just felt rushed
and
the weird.
Sentiment that the idea that this little girl has to go and save everybody, I mean, that bothered me. Like,
that's a very
don't put that on her.
That's a very anime thing.
It is, and I don't.
But usually it's an anime thing
like
when adults are not involved.
Yeah.
So to be honest, most of the anime I watch where it's like a teenager has to save the world, the adults aren't there. They're not involved. This one, the adults were waving her off on the train. That bothered me.
She had 5 adults plus her dad to help her out, and none of them went with her.
None of them helped her out.
Yeah.
Or helped her out.
Her dad didn't know she was going because she called and left him a message.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But her dad
was okay with it.
No, she did. She didn't give the details.
She didn't give details. She just said, "I have to go take care of something."
I'm kind of concerned about how unconcerned he was about that, though.
I think he
considering how distant she's been to him.
I think he was happy though that she at least was talking to him to a certain extent.
Yeah, that was
so that I could see a dad trusting his daughter, who's almost full grown, because she's apparently supposed to be 17, so she's almost an adult, and. So I could see dad not helping, but the choir ladies.
Oh, now here's the thing. Okay, first of all, I love the choir ladies.
Yeah, they're great. They're all great. Ladies.
And because they apparently were her mother's friends, that's kind of the vibe that I was getting off.
They were her mother's friends. Yes.
But the idea at the very end, where like you all are saying, they didn't try to help her out in any way whatsoever. They all knowingly let her go into this situation where she was supposed to save these kids. The whole premise of it just bothers me, and the idea that the director wrote this about his daughter, it just bothers me
That's
even more.
really concerning.
It really bothers me a lot.
I wonder what he was thinking, to be honest.
And I'll have another question. How old is Kay? The beat, is he like 14, 17, 16? How old is he?
He seemed like the same age.
She is supposed
to me, he seemed like a 14-year-old based on the way he was like talking and carrying himself.
Yeah.
But like, and his
she's supposed to be 17. I'm gonna guess that Kay is younger. Let me look it up real quick.
See,
and see
if I could have if I could go back in time and maybe give some ideas to the writers, this is probably gonna be undeveloped because I thought about it for like all but one night. But if maybe instead of focusing on maybe all these outside relationships, because I mean, yeah, they're cool and really neat, but they don't really add to the central
He
story.
is a third-year middle school student, but I don't know how that translates in Japanese schools.
Third year is 8th grade, I think.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
because
So he's an
he
eighth
is
grader.
so he is a few years younger than her, but not by much.
See, if I could slap a little Band-Aid on this story.
She is a third-year high school student. He's a third-year middle school, so he is younger by a few years. But it's still...
What's your Band-Aid, Zoe?
What my Band-Aid is, instead of maybe focusing on stuff like, I mean, have little tiny moments like the whole Ruka and Kayak Kid. Because I feel like that.
those I like.
Those are cool.
Those were nice.
But it kind of took away from the main story. And I don't know. Maybe try to find a balance between the two stories because they kind of overlap a little bit too much.
I think my main problem is they really needed to rewrite the entire Beast angle.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is my Band-Aid.
This is my Band-Aid. Rewrite that.
This is my Band-Aid.
Okay.
So she hosts the concert. It gets interrupted by the Beast, and she's like, instead of being like, oh, I must find out who this is, she brushes it off because again, it's a big internet world, and he was obviously being chased by them, so it's not really his fault.
Right.
And then she brushes it off.
Or she could at least still be slightly intrigued, but not just
be
I have to
intrigued
chase
and
it
not
down.
go
She's like,
chase-
who is this?
So then maybe a little time skip, a little montage. She has another concert, and this time the Beast interrupts again, still being chased. And this time she's a little intrigued because this has happened again. And then maybe a third time it happens. I don't know. 3 times a charm.
Well, see,
rule of 3.
I was thinking because she meets the brother, the little angel character.
Yeah, and again,
right at the beginning when she first enters you, and I was thinking she should befriend that character more and be friends with him because he's the one who walks up to her and first says hello and says, I like you and I like your singing. And maybe he's like, my brother could use some help and do it that way.
Yeah, that's part of it. See, from the start, she should have like a friendship with the little angel. She had a friendship with him. She talks to him sometimes. She hangs out with him a little bit. They just have like a sweet little friendship. And then the Beast shows up. He interrupts the concert a couple times and becomes intrigued. And she starts talking about it to the angel. And the angel's like, oh, I know him. But he doesn't give away how he knows him. And that's what gets her intrigued.
Right.
And she starts to like, poke around, follow after him.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
See, and I also, I can see why they wanted to add more drama to the real life side of it with the abuse and everything. But to be honest, it doesn't fit the movie. It doesn't fit.
No, it was like they were trying to figure out, like, well, okay, well, what's the deal with the Beast?
Yeah, what's the deal with the Beast? And it was like they just couldn't figure out what to do, and that was how they...
I think it would have been a bit better if the Beast was also going through some kind of grief. Because it's shown with his mom. His mom passed away.
Right. And I think it would have... And the thing is, I think they were talking like his emotional state made him stronger because he had to deal with all the weight of the emotions of the abuse and everything. They actually literally said the emotional state at one point, which I was like, how does biometrics meet emotion? Right. But whatever, we're going to ignore that. It's anime. But they could have had it where the bruises were literally his grief from losing his mother recently.
Like a symbolic thing.
Like a symbolic thing.
Or just, the obvious. He was being bullied.
Yeah, or being bullied at school or something.
See, here's continuing my Band-Aid.
Yes.
She meets the Beast through the angel, and she learns about parts of the Beast through the angel, and then when she goes to actually, interact with him, and he does, he sends her away, he's angry, angsty, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then she comes back, and this time she has the angel with her. And the angel kind of calms down the tension because the Beast knows the angel.
Right.
And we as the audience don't know their full relationship yet. We just think they kind of know each other. And this is how Belle can sort of get to know him as a person instead of this angry dude who locks himself away.
Right. Okay.
I think I would have liked it a lot more if we had seen more of the Beast coming to you as well. Because it would explain his castle, the AI characters, which we never really get to meet, but they all
maybe have a scene where the Beast shows how he made the castle or where he got the little AI things from. It's kind of like how in the original movie he shows off the library to Belle.
And they were so good at doing backstory and little flashbacks. That could have easily been part of the film.
But they never.
And maybe they develop a little bit of a trio friendship between the angel, the Beast, and Belle.
I have a feeling that the core of this movie is more about you never know who anybody is on the internet.
Yeah.
Because they do all that searching to find out who the beast is, and Hiro is constantly like, oh, they're lying, or they have another thing, or they have another thing. And it's like how everybody shows a certain face but is not really there. Like the artist who said he was grieving for his girlfriend. Well, then it's like he's dating this other girl, and it's like, oh, you didn't really have a girlfriend that died. But then there's a baseball player that they were all like, oh, he's got to be hiding some deep, dark secret. All it was is he had a lot of health issues and a lot of medical scars he covered up.
Right.
So I think that was a core of the movie, but I felt
it didn't really feed into the main,
but it didn't feed into the main story. But
No.
that felt like a lot of what the director was trying to portray, because in the end, Suzu shows her real face. So I don't know.
I think what I would have, in
This
order
is
to make the face reveal part, in my opinion, if again with the Band-Aid, make it a little bit more impactful. Maybe something happens where Suzu accidentally betrays the beast's location to the justices. Like maybe they follow her and the beast
she did
and
because of the rose petal that fell off her clothing.
like that. And like the beast maybe there's a part where like the beast blames her for trying to like undo him because they don't really know each other in real life. They've only hung out a few times. And they're kind of like iffy friends. They're like at that acquaintance part where they and like maybe he thinks that she was trying to undo him from the beginning because she's this massive pop star and she's utilizing her fame to try and bring him down, and it's this whole emotional blowout moment. And then in order to regain his trust, she reveals her true self in a concert.
Yeah.
And that's what draws the beast back to thinking maybe he could trust her. And then maybe they drop the, oh, he was being bullied, or oh, he's suffering through grief, or oh, he's just a kid who's trying to process things, bomb. Maybe not through the live stream. I don't know. That part kind of felt shoehorned.
That felt weird.
That felt really shoehorned in.
Yeah, a lot of it felt shoehorned.
A lot of it, yeah. As I said, I don't think this was the best of storytelling.
No.
Yeah,
there were moments of good storytelling.
Yeah.
But all
for
in
the
all,
most
the
part-
main plot was not well done.
No, Zoe wrote it better than they did.
Yeah.
But as far as the visuals, though, they were
The
fantastic.
visuals are gorgeous. The
Amazing.
music is great.
The music is great. I
Yeah.
love her singing. The voice actress they got for the English version was really good,
Oh,
too.
she's the best.
The Japanese singer was excellent also, because I listened to the song in both ones. Because I was kind of curious, because the lip syncing on the
English version was
when
a
they're
little,
singing is very off.
It's very
much so.
off.
But I can understand that because they actually translated the song and rewrote it for the English instead of just using their own song, which half the time
And also,
anime used to do.
One point that I will give the movie: flying whales with speakers on them.
loved
That's
it.
so cool.
Oh my gosh, that
So,
was amazing.
Shall I
loved
tell you,
that.
Summer Wars, the whales are also the admins of the virtual world. He has a thing about flying whales.
Theory in the movie: the flying whale
Interesting.
speakers are actually the admins. Oh, but then again, if they are, then they're not doing anything.
No.
Yeah, well, the
They're
admins
useless.
don't do anything.
They're
'Cause
useless,
remember,
pretty
they said
much.
the admins are very hands off. They let people do whatever they want.
Which kind of might be an issue.
That's a huge issue.
Oh, it's a huge issue.
It's a huge issue.
It's the reason why certain parts of our internet are the way they are.
But
Yeah.
but it's also a huge issue, but it's also what makes the internet so free.
Yes.
I mean that part kind of reminded me a little bit. There is some oversight for the internet, and I think that was not thoroughly researched when they were doing the film, just from the ICANN standpoint. And I don't want to get too much into it, but it's worth looking into. There is oversight on the internet, and the way that it was portrayed on the internet is wrong.
Okay.
Here's my last thing on topic of the beast. I just had this thought just right now. I feel like, because Suzu is trying to like overcome her grief and fear of reaching out. What if the beast, instead of having like, oh, he's, abused and all that, he is not only like bully, but he has trust issues.
Oh, well,
And
yeah.
through Belle, he learns to trust someone.
Attachment issues.
Well, and it could be that.
Because it's just him and his little brother.
yeah.
Well, and it could be that he told his dad he was being bullied, but because his dad's dealing with the grief of his mom leaving, his dad didn't believe him or something. So
His
he
dad's
does,
a bully.
Or he ignores him.
or he just
brushes
ignores
off.
him and brushes him off.
Yeah.
So that would give him trust issues in other adults too.
And I think that would add more emotional weight to the face reveal thing, because Suzu is willing to like trust him with her real
Yeah.
identity.
Yeah.
And maybe they have like a thing, instead of in the real world where they find out who he actually is, he also reveals himself.
yeah, But
Then again, that also move is also really dangerous.
Yeah.
Because again, doxing is a problem, and they don't address it as a genuine issue. They're like, oh, we're going to reveal your true self, and everyone will see how ugly you are. No, that's not the issue with doxing. The issue with doxing is that someone could find out who your identity is in the real world and potentially attack, hurt, or harass you.
There's so many things that can go wrong with that.
No. Yeah,
this movie need to be cooked longer.
Yeah,
if it was a cake, it would have a beautiful icing decoration fondant on the outside, but the inside would be pure batter.
Yep.
Or as they say in the Great British Baking Show, it has a soggy bottom.
Soggy bottom.
Soggy bottom.
That is the summary.
It did not cook all the way through. It looks gorgeous on the outside.
All style, no substance.
Yep.
Yeah.
To quote the Great... Sorry, I've been watching the Great British Baking Show
there's
again.
a little bit of
Final
substance, because the way they portrayed Suzu as a character was really, really good, but everything else is it fell pretty flat. Like,
I'm going to say, if you like this director and you like beautiful visuals, go ahead and watch this film.
You could watch this movie muted. And just, like,
you need the songs. You need the songs.
During
the songs are great.
Like, mute during everything else, but only play during the songs.
Buy the soundtrack and watch it muted. Mm-hmm. And then go ahead and go watch Summer Wars, because it's a better movie. This director, his earlier movies, I think are better than his later ones.
Wolf Children.
I need to watch Wolf Children.
You need to watch Wolf Children.
Wolf Children will make you cry.
I cried like a baby at Wolf Children.
I was trying to pick a movie that wouldn't make us cry.
I mean, maybe it would have been better, because at least with that one, you would have felt something.
Yeah.
Because in this one,
I just got done with it, and I went, well, that was something.
When I
don't know about
when
this.
when I finished watching it, I immediately started thinking about how to improve it.
Yeah, no.
Well, and I stayed up late, like, concocting made-up scenarios in my head on how I could fix this film.
Yeah, I got done with it, and I went, yeah, no.
That's, I think, a really good summary of that.
I mean, it is beautiful. Music is amazing. The voice acting is really good. I enjoyed both the Japanese and the English.
Maybe that's why they got a standing ovation.
I keep thinking about that.
They just decided to...
I think the standing ovation was for the art form, not for the story.
Yeah.
But see, for me, yes, something can be beautifully animated, but if there isn't a story I can semi-attach to it and I'm not necessarily going to rewatch it. Like, Avatar is a gorgeous movie. I have no interest in ever watching that movie for a second time, because I thought the story was really stupid.
Yeah, the plot is bland.
Yeah, the plot was very bland.
Same thing with the sequel they released. It's literally the same plot from the first one.
I haven't seen the sequel. I didn't even bother.
Don't even... I mean, the animation and CGI is really, really impressive, but the plot is literally the same thing from the first movie.
Yeah. I know. You might like Avatar. I don't know. But
I haven't seen them.
Pretty much it's Pocahontas with aliens.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
We're talking about the James Cameron one, not Last Airbender.
Yeah, not Last Airbender.
Last Airbender is superior in every way.
I have a very sad announcement to make, which you two are aware of, but this is going to be our last episode.
Kind of a shame it's on this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd be ending on a high note. And
instead of a swan song, we got to record a solo.
Like, this got great reviews and recommendations and all this stuff, and 14-minute standing ovation. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. And then and the trailer looked awesome, to be honest. And and I got done. I was like, oh, well.
I think they were applauding the style and not the substance.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is disappointing for Con.
Yeah. Miss Amy, I promised you that on our last episode, you could sell us on why Mysterious Cities of Gold is the best anime. Now, Zoe hasn't seen it.
I've never heard of it.
And has never heard of it. I have not seen it for a very long time, because as far as I can tell, Miss Amy is the only one who owns a copy of it.
The Mysterious Cities of Gold.
So just as a background before you start talking this, because I did look up something to verify. Mysterious Cities of Gold was a 1982/83 co-production between Japan and France.
Yep.
And over in Japan, apparently it was called Esteban, Child of the Sun.
Yes, that is the main character.
And Esteban is the main character.
Yes.
So what makes Mysterious Cities of Gold the best anime?
What I particularly loved about it, because I watched it as a kid and then I watched it again as an adult, and it totally held up. It was the idea of a historical, fictional retelling of the Spaniards coming to America, and some of the different things, the atrocities that they committed, but also some of the things that they did. You got a look at the indigenous people. You got to understand history in a different light, and it was made in an interesting way. And it was like, what, 80 episodes? I mean, it's a long...
No, it was only 39.
I don't
You
know
might
about
be
that.
misremembering.
Yeah, it was long, but it was only 39 episodes.
How long are each episodes?
Half
40
hour.
Half hour?
And they had a cute little documentary at the beginning, like a 2-minute documentary. I think
I'm
it
going
was
to
longer.
take a hazard that the name comes from The Legend of El Dorado.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep. But anyway, it was such a well-told action story with history, and it got you interested in a particular time period.
I looked up. It's 39.
It felt longer. Maybe it's just because I watched it so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably it.
Usually it's the opposite with shows you love.
Yeah.
It's too short.
Yeah. But the friendships that are formed in there and the characterization, and it was just everything about it I absolutely loved.
What
So-
perspective is the story told from?
It's told from 3 different kids getting together,
Mhm.
if I remember right. There's Esteban, who is Spanish,
Yep.
and he's coming over with the conquistadors.
Yep.
Because he's trying to find his
His father.
father.
who's
That's
lo-
right.
Yep. He gets a castaway. He's a castaway, or not a castaway, but he's on
Stowaway.
the ship. Stowaway.
Stowaway. Yeah. And then there is
His
the
friend,
girl.
she's like Mayan.
Inca.
Incan. That's
Inca.
right. She's Incan. Or what was
Incan.
that third kid?
The third kid is a sci-fi character.
Yeah. He's,
Oh, there's
no,
sci-fi in
he
this.
was the Mayan. He was the Mayan.
No,
That's what it was.
he was from Mu. He was from like an Atlantean society. Because that's where they got all the,
All the
so-
technology.
got
all
At-
the weird technology
They got
that shows
Atlantis
up.
in this?
Crazy technology.
Yes.
Atlantis is a thing?
So the first
Yeah.
half of this,
have
the
to borrow
first
this,
half
Zoe.
of this series, if I remember right, was very kind of historical based. But then the second half, they like start.
It's good.
It's they find like a special like flying condor,
Uh-huh.
mechanical
Yep.
condor thing,
That
and
sounds
there's like
really sick.
all of this
Can you look
lost
up-
civilization.
What does the condor look like? What does the condor look like? I want to know.
Let me see if I can
What
find
What
it.
does the bird thing? What does the machine bird look like? I want to know.
There's also like a solar powered flying ship, isn't there, or
Yep.
something? And
Whoa,
Yeah, I'll lend it to you. It's
I'm
really good.
intrigued.
so this is, but yeah, it starts out, if I remember right, very historical, and then it kind of goes, oh wow.
And it has the catchiest theme song. The catchiest theme song of all time. I still, like, if I'm in the shower, sometimes that's one on my
I don't remember the
repertoire.
theme song, but it has been like 10 years since I borrowed it from
It's
you.
just so good.
Because when you lent this to me, I was still living with my parents because I was between
Mhm.
housings. So I watched it on my laptop with my laptop on a banker's box sitting on the floor. And
Okay.
I was willing to do that to watch
A+
something for
setup.
39 episodes. So it was a good series.
A+
Nice.
setup. Oh
But,
my
yeah,
gosh.
apparently, unfortunately, you can't get it anywhere else.
Well,
and I
you
bought it
can-
at the time period when it was actually affordable.
You can buy it digitally on Amazon, like by episode.
Oh,
but it's
good.
like $2.
Do it.
No, it's $2 an episode, and it's 39 episodes.
$80.
Yeah, if I'm gonna spend $80 on something, I want the physical disc.
Yeah, and that especially because they could just remove it, even though you bought
Yeah,
it. They
yeah,
can
you
do
bought
that.
it. Does
That
that.
does
They can
happen.
do that. So I don't even want
Yeah.
to risk it at that point.
Yeah, not
But
for
anyway,
$80.
It's worth
But-
tracking down if you can, and it's honestly my favorite
So,
anime of
I
all
did
time.
happen to see that apparently they did make a sequel
I
to
did not
it.
watch the sequel. I do not want to watch the sequel.
Okay,
You don't want to ruin the
'cause
feeling.
I don't.
No.
I don't remember the ending very well, but I don't remember it being left with anything really open to do a sequel with.
Probably just more investigating or the technologies and the
Yeah,
and the,
and the sequel was
yeah.
made in like 2012,
Yeah,
so
it
it was
was-
way later,
right,
which is
right. It
weird.
was like a full 20.
So, do you have anything else to tell us about Mysterious Cities of
No,
Gold?
just
No,
if you,
that
if
was
you
it.
have the opportunity to watch it, I highly recommend it.
I'll watch
I'll
it.
have
With,
to borrow it from you
I
again
feel
'cause
like
it's been a
though-
while.
I feel like I should watch it with one of you guys though, if I'm going to be watching this show.
We could do a watch party. I'm
I
in.
would not be opposed.
I'm in.
I would not be opposed.
So, Zoe, since this is going to be our last episode, are there any anime you have been introduced to by doing this series that were surprises for you?
Recovery of an MMO junkie. I bought a
Really?
Blu-ray of it. That's how much I liked it.
Really?
I bought a Blu-ray.
And that is one of the most not known anime out there. I thought I was
Yeah.
the only fan of it.
Yeah, and I love it. And it's also one of the 2 romance animes I've ever watched that I actually enjoyed. And the other one I actually forgot the name of, so maybe it didn't like that one that much. But
Hmm.
this one I liked, and
What it-
to a point where I can recommend it.
So what about Trigun?
I've already seen Trigun. Before we watched it, I'd already watched a little bit of it. I hadn't finished
Oh,
it though.
really?
Yeah, I'd watched a few
Okay.
episodes, but I hadn't finished it.
Because I know you were like, oh, Trigun's like my new favorite show.
Yeah, it's just because I watched it like back in like middle school. I watched like 3 episodes of it.
That was not a good time to watch Trigun.
No,
you
it's
need to be
not.
older for that one.
No. Yeah, I mean that was the same time where I watched Attack on Titan, and that's like not a good time to watch it either.
No. So Miss Amy,
My
you have
first
not
anime was
seen
Attack on Titan.
you have not seen a whole ton of anime because of this
Very
show.
limited,
Very
yeah.
limited. Other than Mysterious Cities of Gold, did you get to watch anything went on the few episodes you were on that you really liked? I think you mostly did Miyazaki films.
Yeah, we watched primarily stuff I had already seen before. I think this was the first one where I was like, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
And now it's ruined your perception of all the new stuff.
Yeah, it has.
I'll have to try. Well, I guess it. Yeah.
We need
I'll
to
have
blow our
try and
mind.
find something else.
We need to try gunify this person.
Huh?
I don't know. You might like Trigun.
She might.
I don't know.
It's very philosophical.
It's very 90s.
It's very 90s.
And that's
It is aggressively 90s.
That is my era.
The main villain is called Millions Knives. It should give you a perspective.
The one that I enjoyed the most out of all the ones we did was Howl's Moving Castle, because we also read the book at the same time.
Yeah.
I like the book better than the movie.
Same. Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
It's so good. But that's one of the reasons why it introduced me to the book. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I have to admit, I like the movie better than the book. Yeah. I there's other stuff by Diana Wynne Jones I like better than that book.
I like how
I like her Cart and
I like
Critter
how
series.
Hal was like a bumbling idiot in the book. And
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah, he
literally
is.
just some guy from Wales.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
funniest part of the
Yeah.
book.
Yep.
I guess that was my one disappointment, is because I felt Miyazaki had a lot of storylines going in his movie that I wanted to know more about, and so I went and read the book, and I was like, oh, none of this is in the book.
Yeah, I think Miyazaki just like took the main outside
idea.
part. He went to a
Yeah.
tree and he took like the biggest pine cones and then left everything else.
Yeah.
And there was
Which he does a
left
lot.
behind.
He does a lot when he bases things on books, I've noticed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and wrap it up, because we've been chit-chatting for almost an hour here about a movie that we actually didn't really enjoy.
It gets points because it gave us conversation.
It gave
It
us
did.
a lot
It
to
did.
talk about.
I will say that is one thing, is that it's one of those movies where you look at it and you're like, I have thoughts.
Yes.
We all three of us came in and we were like, what do we think of the movie? And we all said, we have thoughts.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that is in itself, I guess, a point in this movie's favor, because it gave you thoughts. They weren't necessarily good thoughts, but it gave you thoughts.
It's a good movie to discuss.
Yes.
But not in a good way.
Yeah, it's not one that I'm going to pull out to watch
See,
for fun.
No.
It's not like my copy of Summer Wars, which I've watched, I think, like 20 times
The polar opposite of this movie would be Trigun, because that one had a lot to discuss, but in a good way.
Yes.
And this one had a lot to discuss on the opposite end of the spectrum.
So thank you all for joining me today, and thank you listeners out there for this ride with us. I am very sad this is our last episode, but we are moving on to other things in our lives right now. So we will go ahead and wrap it up here, and as I said, thank you for the ride. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot of things about audio editing.
Yeah!
And about how wrong things can go. It's amazing, but our technology has mostly worked this time.
God.
The last 3 times
The
has
fact
been
that your
bad.
laptop hasn't killed itself is a shocker.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was fun. The one time the laptop tried to blow up.
And that was during the Flying Phantom Ship episode, and that episode is just riddled with
That
stuff.
was not the Flying Phantom Ship episode.
Uh-oh.
The Flying Phantom Ship episode was a whole nother mess.
Oh yeah, that was when the audio just stopped working.
Yeah, that's when the audio just stopped working.
Which one was the one where it blew up? Was that the one with Keith? Was it Trigun?
It might have been one of the Triguns.
I think it was the second half of the Trigun one, I think.
I don't know, but it was...
'Cause I remember being frustrated because I couldn't talk about it.
Yes. It was like, uh-oh, we have to stop, shut down the computer, and just let it sit for 10 minutes while we wait to see if it blows up. So, all right. Well, everybody, let's say goodbye.
Bye! It's been a long ride.